What's going on, everybody? Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Oh, I missed you guys. I hope everybody had a fantastic new year and your first week of January was filled with lots of new resolutions and great things. You are listening to Freight Be Moving All Things Logistics with me, Joe Williams. I'm back on YouTube. I'm back in the podcast. I know you're probably wondering what happened to her. Did she go away? I got the COVID. I had the COVID. I could not talk. I could not function. I did my best to do the episode 30 because I wanted it done before the end of the year. But if you guys would have heard me, you would have been like, hey, I can't listen to this. She sounds horrible. I mean, horrible. You know, stuffy nose, scratchy throat, coughing, hacking, you know. If you've been sick this year or last year, or if you had the COVID, you know. You can't do anything. And that was my first time getting it. My spouse had it as well, so we spent the week and a half at home. Yeah, I did have to leave the house, but I did wear my mask. You know, I had to go get some things from the store and stuff like that. But I did wear my mask. I swear. I didn't contaminate anybody. And, but yeah, so that's what happened the last 2 weeks. I have been under the COVID bug. And I am back with 5 trends I see happening for 2023. Had time to restructure, think about what I'm going to be talking about this year. Thinking about the layout of my organization, content, all that stuff. I had great planning time because I couldn't do anything else. I got bored. I could only watch so many movies, and I just had to get on the computer and just tap away and think about some things. So I've got some new great things. But today I am talking about 5 trends that I think you should be watching because, as you know, our logistics and transportation industry is in a constant state of change. There is so much going on, but I believe these 5 trends are going to impact us. The first one is the semi-electrical truck. That's right, the semi-electrical truck. If you've been watching the news, you see Tesla beat everybody to the punch, and they are being blessed with contracts. Good for them. This means that the infrastructure for electric vehicles is starting to lay it out. I'm starting to see more electrical vehicles, charging stations, and I've read some reports that Pilot, Flying J are going to be installing these charging stations because they're going to need them. They're going to need these charging stations to be in place. Now, one thing that I'm noticing about this semi truck, it's a day cab. It is not a overnight sleeper. It's a day cab. So with the batteries only being able to go out for 500, I think it's 500 miles, they can hold a charge. You're looking at them going out for about 250 miles, coming back 250 miles plus or minus. I've also seen some reports about the cold climates on some of these charging stations. I was watching a YouTube channel, and they were testing these charging stations in cold weather. Now, the ones that Tesla built, they seem to be holding up pretty good in the cold weather. However, the smaller ones seem to be having some issues. So with that, we're going to be looking at some issues that need to be ironed out with those particular trucks. Now, with these trucks, you've got some new technology that's coming on board. With that new technology is going to enable you to have tracking of the freight. COVID 2019, the pandemic, the whole 9 yards really got shippers to looking at tracking and tracing of their freight. They want to know where it's at, who's got it, how long they've had it for, when's it getting to them. They want to do better planning. So I see that electric trucks are going to help with that. There's also some other new technology I've been hearing about that is also going to play a part of that. And then there's still other companies like Project 44 and these new fancy technologies by C.H. Robinson, who's also going under a new CEO change. But these technologies are going to impact how truckers move freight, how shippers see the freight. And I think it's a good thing. Theft is on the rise because prices are up. And until interest rates go down, prices aren't going down. That's the bottom line. So you're going to see some new technologies coming on board, and that is going to definitely impact how shippers are tracking and tracing their freight. Now, the third trend that I see that is going to definitely change how we do freight transportation and logistics, and it's also going to trickle out into the ports, is companies that are moving back to the United States. You're going to see more made in the USA. More made in the USA. And companies are reshoring for a number of reasons. One, to get the transportation and logistics closer together. And we had so much congestion at the ports of Los Angeles and the strikes that were going on that companies are seeing the value in reshoring their factories back to the United States. Now, it's going to be interesting because with interest rates going up, are companies going to be producing as much? Because the cost of money is going up. You're borrowing money to manufacture. The longer you hold on to that money, the higher the cost, the higher the goods. It's a trickle effect. So I'm sure that our Treasury departments, our Federal Reserve, will figure out a better way to make everyone happy with all of these hikes that they're doing. And hopefully, we'll start to see some things go down. The infrastructure bill is feeding the economy. That's right. The infrastructure bill is feeding the economy. Biden-Harris administration released the infrastructure bill to make our bridges and roadways better. And they're pushing that money into our states, giving the states the power to manage the money. Of course, it's a trickle down economy effect. I'm sure those of you who are familiar with Reaganomics, you are familiar with the trickle down effects. And so the infrastructure bill is going to be feeding the economy engine throughout 2023, 2024. And I would say that the plan would is probably going to be that you get that money into those states so they can hold on to it. It's better to hold on to it, release it slowly, because you want to keep that cash, because the less states have to borrow, the better it is for the pricing. So there's definitely going to be some balancing acts that got to go on. A lot of tricky accounting. When I say tricky, I'm not talking about unethical accounting. I'm talking about just a balancing act of making sure that one scale doesn't get too light and one scale get too heavy when it comes to spending that money. So the infrastructure bill is going to be the big bill that feeds us. Yes, it feeds us. And if you're a small business owner, you're going to be wanting to pay attention to this. You small freight brokers, small trucking companies, small shippers, you're going to want to pay attention to the infrastructure bill and where that money is going in your states. Not just your federal. You want to look at your states because that's where you can get your contracts. That's what you need to be paying attention to. How are you going to get your money from the states and getting into these contracts? I'm going to be covering a lot of issues on the small business because that's my gang right there. That's my tribe. That's my tribe. And so on the final front, on the final prediction that I have and things that we need to watch this year are port constructions, new port constructions, and the rail freight congestion. Just because it's quiet right now about that rail doesn't mean that the congestion isn't there. And ports are expanding as they've been given a lot of money to grow. And so when that flood does come back, if and when it does come back, they're ready. Now, I see that some of that construction is going to go into temporary warehousing. I see pockets of movements. What I mean by pockets is the infrastructure bill is pushing money to get the roadways done. So you're going to really want to minimize how much tractor trailer traffic is on those roadways, because it's going to block a lot of that, or it's going to the movement of transportation is going to slow down because of the road construction. So what's a strategy for that? Throw it on the rail. Throw it on the rail. Get it to the local rail ports. Have the trucks drive from the rail to the warehouse in the local area. You're looking at a 250-mile radius. Now you see where the Tesla truck is coming in? You see how all that's going to fit in together? You build these silos throughout the United States to where you minimize the number of long-haul trucks you have on the road, and you have truckers that can be home every night because they are moving freight in their local area within a 250-mile radius. They're home every night. You're minimizing the carbon emissions. You are minimizing the amount of time that drivers are on the road. You're allowing those drivers to get home every night so that they can sleep. You don't have to worry about parking that is not suited for drivers right now. The parking infrastructure in the United States for truck drivers is crap. I know, been there, done that, and it's gotten worse. So here is where it all fits together. Building the electric trucks, you only have to send them out 250, send them back 250. You minimize the need for fuel, okay? You've got those little silos and infrastructures to make sure that they can charge when they get back to the home base, because there's going to be a home base for those trucks to park. It may cost them something, but there'll be a home base. Now you've got your technology that's tracking that, that's attached to the electric truck. You have companies that are reshoring, building their silos, a little bit here on the ports, a little bit by the railroads, a little bit by their local markets, okay? So now you have your silos, warehousing. You got your infrastructure bill that's feeding all of this so that the money continues to flow in, and you have your ports under constructions and your railroads congestions, because you have such a huge amount of freight that's being pushed into that rail system. But that will ease up as the system starts to improve, and you start to work out the kinks, and you start to work out all the other issues. So there is a lot of action that is going to be happening in 2023. I'm excited for the year. I'm excited for my business, all the changes and adjustments that are being made, and it's just going to get better. It's just going to get better. So right now, you guys just hold steady, hold fast, keep your bodies well. Oh, it feels so good to breathe. Oh my gosh, it feels so good to breathe. So that's my wrap for this episode. I couldn't wait till Friday. I had to just do a special today. I could not wait till Friday. I'm just too excited. I was so excited that I could actually record and talk and put it all together that I just had to wipe it out. So I hope you guys enjoyed this update, and it's good to be back. I missed you. And if you are out there on the road, whether you're a 4-wheeler or an 18-wheeler, be safe. Be safe. and get home to your loved ones because they want to see you tonight. All right. Peace out, everybody. I will see you on Friday. Okay.